people interested in mushrooms and don't know much about them, I'm going to just do a few basic things. First of all, I passed out this handout, and it has a page on basic considerations for mushroom collecting, written by the guy that wrote one of those books. And the thing is, when you collect mushrooms, you want to bring them back and not contaminate them with other mushrooms. So you can do that. You can get a nice basket. That's probably the best thing. But if you don't have a basket, you can use a nice brown paper bag that works just fine, so that you don't have to have any fancy materials. In addition, you want to have something to put your mushrooms in, and I recommend wax paper bags. They used to be very easy to find, then they became almost impossible to find, and now they're back again. So you can probably find the wax bags. The wax bags for mushrooms are very important because they allow a little bit of it to breathe, but if you put it in plastic, it'll it'll decay and not hold up. I hate to see mushrooms in the stores packed tightly in plastic because they don't last as long that way. You want them to be able to get some air into them. And then you can just put your mushrooms in the bag, and then put that in a brown paper bag into a basket. For smaller mushrooms, I also carry something like one of the tackle box type thing, because I will collect things that you almost need a microscope to see, and this keeps them safe and keeps them from drying out too much. But the next thing, you're fitting out your basket with a little bit extra stuff, is a pocket knife, or I have a fancier knife, but just a pocket knife, or a knife that you don't care if it gets dirt on it. A kitchen knife, a plastic kitchen knife even works. Okay, I've had to go on mushroom walks in other parts of the country where I flew in, and you don't get knives through TSA anymore. So we used plastic knives or something from the kitchen where we were. But it works. And the reason for that is because you've got a mushroom, you'll see a mushroom like that in the ground. And it's got the rest of it down below, and that can help you greatly in the identification. It can tell you whether this one was poisonous or not, or deadly poisonous or not poisonous at all. And so you take the knife and you dig out around and make sure you get the base. And that can be very important in your identification. I cheated a little bit. The one thing I like, I found a real tiny trowel, and that works beautifully for digging things out. The other thing is that sometimes you have mushrooms that are growing on the side of a tree, and so the knife can help you cut them off, or you can pry them off, either one. So like oyster mushrooms and things like that. Then you will usually carry something you can write on. I have pads of these for identification. You put the characteristics of where you found it, and what, whether it's on soil, leaf litter, wood, conifer woods, mixed woods, grassland, so on and so forth. And any other comments like, oh, it was in the middle of the lake and I had to dive to find it. It does strange things like that. Anyway, you carry something like that and a pen to write with. The other thing I carry is a little magnifying glass, a doublet. This is like a 10 power doublet, because you can look and you can't see the spores, which are much too small, but you can see a lot of other details on the mushroom that may help you identify it. That can go in your basket, or like I have it around my neck. The one other thing that I carry with me is a whistle. I'm off in the woods somewhere, and if I fall, or if I lose, you'd be surprised when you're looking down at the ground and following in the ground, and you're off the path, how easy it is to become disoriented in terms of where the parking lot is, or where the rest of your people are, and the whistle will attract them. Now, this one happens to have a compass on it. That's irrelevant. It's nice. If you're good, you can use a compass. I've never been able to remember to figure out which way I went in the beginning so that I know which way to go when I come back. But people tell you that you can do that. That was fine. Usually on a day like this, I'll know where the sun is. But the last couple of days, I haven't been able to do that because there was no sun. And that always happens to me. What else do I put in there? I think that's about it. But you don't need all that. As I said, the brown paper bag and wax paper bags, or you can take wax paper, wrap it up. Or if worse comes to worse, you can just put it in there. But the main thing is, don't seal it up in plastic because it will never last, and you try to separate things as much as possible. So any way you do that. Then when you get back, you want to identify the thing. So probably the easiest thing to do as a start, it gives you some more information, is to make a spore print. And I'll tell people to make spore prints. Most of the time you can look at a mushroom and look at the gills on it, and they're white, or they're brown, or they're purple, or they're pink. And that usually will give you an idea of what the spore color is. And they use spore color for identification on a lot of mushrooms. But you can't, that's not a sure thing. I've seen mushrooms that have nice white gills like that. You put them on a piece of paper, and put a glass or a bowl or something on top of it to keep the wind from blowing around underneath, and they will drop spores over a certain period of time. Sometimes it's just a few minutes, sometimes it's a few hours. And then when you pull it up, you'll have the spore print, and that can tell you, again, a lot of books actually start out as white and light colored spores, pink spores, brown spores, purple brown spores for gilled mushrooms. And you can actually get a spore print for one of a mushroom that has pores in it. If you just put that over the paper, you'll get the spores coming out. Those are generally not too interesting because they're almost always brown, but if you have a microscope and you're looking at the spores, you can tell more about it. Okay, so you got home, you are making a spore print. You looked at all these characteristics of the mushroom, and you go to your book, and you got lots of books. This is an old one, but it's easy to carry, and it's got more information for the price than any other book I know of. And it's a little old, but it still works very well. And you go to the book and you start looking in the keys, and you start looking, trying to figure out where you are. Some people can pick a book up like this one, and you just browse through it and look at all the pretty pictures until you find a mushroom that looks something like yours. Well, that works. I've seen people do very well with that, but The more characteristics you have, and the more you can narrow it by the spore color, the shape of the mushroom. Once you get in here, you can tell that some mushroom is a Rochula or a Lactarius. Lactarius has milk that comes out of it, so that if you scratch the surface of one of these things and it has a milk that comes out of it, then you know it's a Lactarius. Well, that gets you way down towards where you want to be to identify the mushroom. Here's one that you open it up and it turns blue and has a little bit of orange milk. So that should get, there aren't too many mushrooms that do that, so you should be almost at the identification with that one. But when you get to where you think you've identified it, you want to get it confirmed as many ways as possible. You can Google it. You can ask somebody you know who knows something about mushrooms that you trust. And there aren't many people around like that. You need to know what other things look like it that you might confuse it with and how to discriminate between those things. But I would highly recommend not eating any of them until you know exactly what you're doing and have had a lot of experience and had confirmation from someone you trust who's willing to eat that mushroom with you. But myself, I gather mushrooms to like wildflowers, because there are so many different kinds and different colors and different shapes and different habitats. Some of those are edible, some of them are delicious, and it's nice to know those when you run into them. But you'll start first thing you do with that mushroom is you turn it over, if it's a mushroom. Now, mushroom is a fruiting body of a fungus that is spore bearing. And so the typical one you think of is like the one you buy in the store. You turn it over, it's got gills, and you know what the gills look like. They radiate from the center of the mushroom, and they can be lots and very close together, or it can be quite widely separated. Or the next thing you do is you turn it over and it has tubes. Well, there are a whole group of mushrooms that have tubes, and the spores are on the inside of those tubes and are projected into the center of that tube and then fall down the tube. And then you have some that are like that, and they're just a ball. This one's a puff ball. When you open it up, it'll have spores on the inside. Well, this one doesn't yet. This one is young, and it's an edible puffball. Here's one that's a different species, also round. When you open it up, it's black on the inside because it's all full of spores. So again, these are getting you into different types of mushrooms. You've got one here. Here's one that looks like coral, and it's just came out of the woods like that. The deer like these mushrooms. You'll find them. They've been chewed up by the deer. Not quite as delicious to them as my hostas are, but they'll eat these too. Then there are other ones that are slimy, gelatinous, don't really have much shape to them, and they'll again qualify as mushrooms because they have spores and they're a different structure than the main part of the mushroom is usually filamentous mold underneath the ground that is what they call the mycelium, and it's like your mold on bread that you see the spider webby type growth on it, and then it will put up these fruiting bodies, the mushrooms. So, as I said, you've got a tremendous range of sizes, shapes. One thing I didn't mention, there's some that are like cups. They're a cup, and then the spores are on the inside of that, and they're ejected upwards rather than falling down. They're shot upwards. I think almost any of those we could find out here in the woods or in the town forest. This is an illustration of a number of different types of mushrooms done by a fella on the west coast, but those are west coast mushrooms, but I'd say 90% of them I could find here. And if not, they'll be very close relatives here, so the size and shape are about the same. So any questions before we go walking? Again, remember when you get a mushroom, you want to get the whole mushroom and bring back what's under the ground as well as the fruiting body. You don't need to bring all the mycelium back with you, but the fruiting body, make sure, because there are identifying characteristics on the base a lot of times. Oh, these are, let's go to this one first. This one is called Lecaria, Lecaria lucata. And it is a very common mushroom, stiff, tough stem. It looks like flesh on the gills on the inside. The gills are widely spaced. This one is Amethystina is the species name, and I think it is also Lecaria amethystina, and as you can see, these things come in all different colors and shades, and it has a very stiff stem on it. And see, these two are related. You can see that in spite of the difference in the colors, the stem and the gills are attached about the same way, and they are about the same distance apart. This is usually grows with pines, and this is Aswellis and Granulatus, which means it's dotted. The other ones these are edible, but some people are allergic to them, and they're often allergic to this membrane on the top. And if you can peel that membrane off, and the slugs have already eaten the tubes off, you get this little fillet of mushroom that's about 90% water. What did you find?
Oh, we found two right there.
Yeah.
She was going to take it out for you.
Oh. Well, look at it. Before you take it out, look at it. See that fuzzy stuff on top? That's just like the last one you had. And you can take it out, and you see it has that bulb on the bottom. But see that sort of like frosting on top there? Those things you can move. And that's another poisonous one.
No.
Yep. Oh, isn't that wonderful? This is a mushroom that's been attacked by a fungus. It's called the fungus. It's called Hypomyces. The mushroom, I'm not sure what it was. It often is an Amanita, but I don't know what this one was.
So look at the moss in the mossy area.
Oh yeah.
I assume there's more.
Some again, it's specific. Some things like to grow in the moss. Other things that would never get near it. Oh. And see, there two. Those are both the Amanita citrina that we found. Yeah. And there's a young one. Now, when you get a young one, they come out of a thing that looks like a puffball. Come out of a thing that looks like a puffball. But what you do is you take what you think is a puffball and you slice it in half. And if it's white inside, it's edible puffball. And if it's yellow or brown or black, it's a puffball that's gone too far and it's got spores in it. It's not edible.
So you can eat the puffball.
And
but not
so
necessarily-
if you slice it and you see gills, this would be like just going through here. This one you wouldn't mistake right there, but if it was just that much of it, you can see the gills on it.
That's not good, right?
That means it was an Amanita button, we call them.
So that's no good.
No, this is a very poisonous mushroom. Oh, there's lots of things here. We'll get there. This is a ruchula. Ruchulas have, and so is that.
Okay.
They have round cells in them instead of long cells, and as a result, instead of a stem being tough, it breaks like a piece of chalk. And this one's been eaten up from the inside. Or you can do this, and all the gills are very brittle, so they drop out.
Oh, wow.
That's the other test for a ruchula is you throw it against a tree and if it shatters, it was a ruchula. Now the next thing is, what ruchula? Well, there are probably 1,000 ruchulas that have been described, maybe more, and they're all different colors. And you can spend with a key a good portion of a night getting down to where you've got all the characteristics, and you turn to the page and you find out you're down to a group. And some of them are edible, some of them are delicious actually, but they're hard to, there are some that, they have names like Ruchula medica, and you know right away it's not going to be good for you. Okay, this is a Colibia. Now which one, I don't know. Colibias will have a real tough, stringy stem. This one is pretty much over the hill. And, so it's hard to identify some of the things when they get a little bit too mature. Somebody handed me this one. Here are some little guys. These are little polypores, like your Fungus that sits on there. They're just starting to come out. And this is probably, well, I'm not even going to make a guess because it's just so young. Here's one that's a little older that somebody handed me. And as you can see, it will have, it's going to be a polypore too, and I don't know what one that's going to be. That's a wet Colibia.
Look at the top, it's so pretty.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a Lactarius because
Looks like a pancake.
a Lactarius will have those radial, it looks like a target on the top.
Yeah.
And but that's not what this is. It's been eaten and it's completely waterlogged.
What eats it, like bugs?
Most commonly slugs. See, they come in all different sizes. Karen
Those
just
are
handed me, these are little mycenas, they call them. This is Mycena epterygia. It's a big long name, but it's a
So cute.
little mycena. And they are growing on the pine needles. That's the, thank you. And this guy,
And it's a patch right
yeah,
Wow.
this is a Boletus.
It's a bully already.
Well, see it has the tubes on the bottom, and it is not as slimy as the Sowellus are. It doesn't change color when you open it up. A lot of the boletes will turn blue. And yeah, I can see where all the worms have been in it. It is one I would key out. I think it's Arius, but I'm not sure.
So is that edible?
No.
No. Okay.
You're like that one though. Is that what you
This one is maybe Clavulanopsis Zelleringli. It's Zellering. Now this one is going to be a Lactarius. We haven't shown you any Lactarius.
Oh, so it's going to have like a...
Milk. I can do it a number of ways, but I'll do it this way because I think this is the one that will... Yeah. See? There's milk in there, and see what's happening to the milk? It's turning yellow. See the yellow? This is called Lactariaspinacio Roefessence. I'm very poor with my Latin this year. I haven't gotten, haven't seen enough things, but it has this milk.
Is that what happens?
It reacts with air somehow, but they do different things, and it isn't just oxidation, but it usually starts with oxidation. Okay, now here is another coral mushroom. This is called, and look at all the neat little guys down here. I don't know what those are, but this is Clavulanopsis cristata, Clavulanopsis cristata. The name changes with the year, I think, and it's still the same mushroom, but it gets different names. Now these little guys, this is probably a Mycena also, but it has, I don't know the name of this one. Again, it's growing on the pine needles, and there might be a piece of decayed wood in there that it's growing on. So.
Yeah. There's another one. You don't have to go far, George.
I know.
Yeah, no. Oh, so you have one of these already?
One
Oh, you do.
like that.
Yep.
That one's much better shape. But I'll trade.
There we go.
Which one was that?
Well, I thought it was Ruschla brevipies, but I changed my mind. Changed my mind, and I'm not sure what it is. It's one of the Ruschlas. Okay. Oh, this you feel how soft this is here? That means it's got all sorts of bugs and worms and stuff in it. So I don't know. This has gone up like this because of the water. It usually would look like that.
Yep.
And it's see that? That says Ruschla, okay? And I would not, if looking at it this way, it doesn't look like a Ruschla, okay?
So
And look what he found. Oh, aren't those pretty?
There are a lot more also.
Yeah. This is called, well, I don't know what it's called now. It used to be Hygrosabe miniata, and I think it probably still is. It likes water. It likes a real wet place. And there are some bright yellow ones as well as the orange one that you have there, and different species. Not edible.
Not edible.
Not edible, but very pretty.
Yeah, very cool.
George, maybe you want to move over.
Ruschlas come in all different flavors, and again, I could break.
Look at the way it was eaten.
That's the slugs. This one just went right across the top. He liked the rind, and the other one went into the center. If I break it open, it would be worms going up the vase, so that it's food.
I didn't see any worms.
Oh, that's good. They're camouflaged. The little white ones, and if you leave it out on the counter, we used to have a blue counter, and I leave a mushroom out on there. There'd be tracks out in the morning.
Well, I didn't find this, but another nice lady found it. But I thought, look at that beautiful underneath there.
Underneath, and has this club-shaped base on it.
It's a really interesting.
This is called Clatosabe clavipes, which means club foot, because it has a club-shaped foot.
I just thought it was so pretty under here.
It
the
is,
shape of the...
and the way the gills are.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
very
see this
nice,
one a lot.
very nice. Yeah.
What is that? That's one of the ones I'll bring home but never do anything with because I don't know what it is.
Ooh.
That was a
Nice.
bold move.
No. No, it's not a bold move because I spit it out. That is a bolete that is not a bitter bolete, and it's not one that has doesn't turn blue, doesn't have red stem, red pores. So it's I would say that's probably one of the edible boletes. Now, which one? I don't think it's Boletus edulis, but I think it's related to the Boletus edulis. I'm not. Okay.
I'm not gonna eat it right now.
Yeah. No. Okay. What we got?
Are these puffballs?
Those are puffballs.
Are they edible?
Well, let's see.
If you crack them open, they have to be white inside, right?
Yeah, right. This is called Lycoparadon because it's a pear-shaped puffball.
Oh, okay.
Lycoparadon means pear-shaped. Lycoparadon piriformis, which means pear-shaped. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's white inside. That's what you're looking for, and I think this one will be too. I'd like to find one that was a little bit yellow. No, that one's perfectly good. Those will be edible.
Wow.
Now,
Thank you.
they will shrink up. They are tasteless. You cook them with steak or something good, and they will taste like that.
Oh, okay.
They're a good carrier, sort of like rice is.
Yeah.
Are these like baby oysters?
No, but that's neat because what you've got here, this is mycelium. I'm telling you about mycelium. That's what's inside this log, and this is called parchment fungus because it's like a piece of cardboard, or
Oh, okay.
and it actually has pores on one side,
Yeah.
and the spores come out of them. And let's see, parchment fungus Austria is the last name, and the first one I've forgotten. You can call it parchment fungus. That name doesn't change.
Do they get quite large, like
No.
an oyster will?
No, but you can often get a lot of them. I mean, this whole thing could be covered with them.
No. Edible or not?
Doesn't matter.
No. No.
Uh,
I
pro-
know.
pro-
Well, I
pro-
didn't know if they got big.
No, it'd be like eating balsa wood.
Oh, no.
I mean, is that edible?
No.
Now there's some pretty little hygrocebees or hygrophorus, little orange ones. I think those are the ones that he will be the ones. No. These are extremely sticky, tacky, and if they're wet, you can't even pick them. They slip, and something like Gliophila cutiformis or something like that.
George, I got a few more.
Yeah, you do.
Look at that.
That's
already pulled out.
So already hollowed out, eaten, and everything else.
Look how big it was.
Yeah,
It's huge.
a good meal
Good meal, I guess. I don't know.
for somebody, for the slugs.
But not for us, probably, right?
No.
Show me your other one.
And this one I thought was really cute. I tried to get the bottom.
Oh, what
It's like
do you
orangey.
Yeah, but what do you have?
Oh, that was just him. Oh.
What do you have?
I don't mind him.
I don't know what that one is.
Aren't they weird?
But they're
like orange.
tacky. They may be the same as these. I think they
The
are.
color is so orange.
And
Put them in your basket.
I will see what they are. Yeah, aren't those pretty?
Those are the parchment ones?
This is a different parchment one. The one was Austria, and I think this is Hirsutus, and I can't think of the genus name for the parchment fungus, but it's just a pretty little thing that grows out, and I've seen people make jewelry out of them, dry them.
Is that basket worthy?
Oh, isn't that cute? I can't think of the name on this one. I should know it.
This is right next to it.
And that guy, see what the water does? This is water.
Water
Did
damage?
all that. Water and a slug probably. See,
Okay.
and it's slippery as all get out. And I should know them. but they're just coming out. They're a fall mushroom. Okay, this is called Sowellus Pictus, and that is the painted bolete. And see how it has like a map on the top, and it has the thing it doesn't really open up very much after a while, and you can see the tubes underneath. Okay, you found me a ruchula. Again, it's a pretty little one, and a lot of them are red. If we haven't seen many red ruchulas around here today, but they're often a pretty one. Do you want him? Okay.
George, there's one over there. I don't want to pick it but it has a huge slug on it.
Yeah, and the slug is having dinner.
But it's so weird.
It's,
I don't want to disturb it. Where was it?
So would these be false turkey tail of some
yes,
sort?
yes. False turkey tail, one name.
More
I
curved,
call it
right?
Parchment Fungus. And it's something I can't. And I got a block for the genus, but Austria is the species.
See it, you guys? There's two of them.
Yeah.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Look how big the slug is.
Yeah.
But
He'll
look
get
at
bigger.
Isn't that
He'll get
interesting?
bigger.
Look at that.
Yeah. That slug will get bigger. He'd eat more of those. Okay, here's a Sowellus Granulatus, and it's dotted Sowellus. It has tubes, it's a bolete, it's slimy, and it's been eaten by a slug, or worms. Something has been crawling up inside it anyway.
Oh, these were some other ones I found.
And usually, again, this is all hardwood in here, and usually the Sowellus are with pines and conifers.
This one had an unusual top.
Well, that's water.
Oh, that's just water?
That's what's happening. Yeah.
Look at the bottom.
Yep.
Look at
Yep. This is a hygrophorus. It's probably the same as this, although the colors look different now.
Yeah, and it's a different shape.
Well, yeah, that's all water. This is just
like
waterlogged and older. And this one, it expanded and is up like this when it's usually conical like that.
This is one of those young ones you mentioned.
Yeah,
that has
right,
the bulb on
right,
the
right.
bottom.
That's.
That you said.
Oh, that's
it's
a
good
nice
eating.
one.
It's good eating.
Did you see the bottom?
Oh my gosh!
Did you see the bottom?
Purple.
How purple? Isn't that neat?
So cool.
This is another Lecaria. We had the Amethystina, the little purple. Did you see the little purple ones that they found?
She finds good ones.
Did you see the little purple ones? Aren't those pretty? And you found a big purple one. That's neat. Do you want to put it in my basket or you want to take it? Okay, fine.
Do you know which one this
Do you
is?
want this one?
Yeah.
Look at that one.
You didn't get it all.
Nicole?
I tried to.
I know it's been eaten. I
okay.
have that problem too. Somebody
Yeah.
ate it, but I look at it and I see
I know. I think
this stuff on the top that you can peel off.
Yeah.
It's an Amanita,
Oh.
and it
in the back. No problem, Kathleen.
is probably. I'm not sure whether it's fulva or what. It's one of the little Amanitas. So.
Yeah.
And so, boy, there are sure a lot of mosquitoes around here.
Yeah. There
But they're in the group that's poisonous. I
Oh,
think this is one of the not quite so poisonous ones. Cool about this one?
Oh, I didn't even see those ones. I was seeing ones over here.
Well, I'm looking at these because these glow in the dark.
They glow in the dark.
Yeah.
We have glow in the dark mushrooms over here.
Edible or no?
Nothing to it. Nothing to it. It's all gills, no meat, and the stem is tough as get out. So this is Zarula, and I don't know whether it's Furfuraceae or there's another Zarula that is a smaller one. Or I do better just calling it rooting colibia.
Okay.
You find some of the most interesting mushrooms. That's a yellow one, huh? How'd you pick it? It's so slippery, isn't it, huh? Ah, you got a knife. Okay. Yeah. Well, that is one I have to. I've got the name back at the thing, but it's so interesting because it is so slippery. It's really hard to pick. Feel the stem on it.
Like a slime. Right?
Yeah. Okay. This is Trichaptum biforme. It is the little purple polypore.
Really? So
When you look at it from, you look at it from usually on a tree growing up the tree. You look at it from underneath, it looks purple.
Really?
And when you look at it here, you can just see there's an edge is purple there.
Oh yeah, I can tell now. Oh, it's so neat. Look at how it looks.
Is it edible? Is balsa wood edible?
Probably not.
Probably
Try
won't.
hard enough.
Probably won't poison you, but I wouldn't eat it.
There's a whole bunch of this
Yeah,
on the other side of there.
I'll
They
have to
grow
go.
in a clump.
Right. Just like these grow in a clump,
Right.
and those grow in a
It's on
clump.
the other side
Yeah.
of the same tree.
And
There's
these
like
grow
all
in a
these
clump.
different things.
They're all different. Often, that's the only place you'll find things is because the tree holds the water, and the mushrooms will fruit on a tree like this where there's not enough moisture down in the thing. Yeah, you've got
So it's
a patch of these and a patch of those.
right. So
Yeah.
they're different.
Yep.
It's beautiful here.
Yep.
The camera.
And the nice thing about it is you know which way is down. These things grew this way. And it doesn't show up too well. But this is the little purple polypore.
Beautiful.
Trichaptum biforme. But what's neat is when you get them that are like this, as they're growing up the tree,
Okay.
and then the tree falls down, then all of a sudden they're growing like this, which is 90 degrees from the way they were growing. You'll get some that are growing this way and some that are growing that way.
Must have been down quite a
Yeah,
while.
long enough for all those to grow, right?
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
These things get this slime on them this time of year. The slime is antifreeze,
Wow.
and it will. Some of these things, you just can't pick that one. I mean, feel it. I mean, that's just
Wait,
oh.
It's purple like the other one. But
Yeah, this.
more
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
another one of the. It's a baby Lecaria, like she found a big one. Ah, look at that.
How beautiful.
This
Those are good
you can
stamps.
hold him and turn it over, and it looks almost like it has gills, but it's not. It's a polypore. It's called Didaleopsis confragosa.
That's mouthful. Does it have a common name?
Mushroom.
Oh, thank
Bracket fungus.
you. Okay.
A false maize polypore.